Good morning. It's Monday, and I'm excited to share some more brain yoga with you today. My name is Emmy, and I've been a CZT for a really long time. And I wanted to let you know that if you have any questions, you can easily reach me on my YouTube channel. Zentangle is based on 5 strokes. If you can do my cute little stick man, then that's zentangle. It's all of the strokes that you're ever, and you'll never look at things the same again once you've started to practice zentangle. Zen, relaxing, which is what we're going to do this morning together, and tangling, which is putting patterns together in a different way. Rick Roberts and Maria Thomas are the founders of Zentangle. They're just now celebrating their 20th year, so this is a relatively new hobby. The materials we're going to use we're going to use the best quality that we have. And if you're with me, you would like a thicker pen, like a Micron 05. Possibly you will want a 01, which is a little bit smaller. And again, any pen will do. Frequently, I use my Lee pen. I've got others too that are just any pen will do. We're going to use a pencil. And the softer lead that you have, the better, but any pencil will do for our class today. And then I'm also going to use a tortillon, which is just a paper blending stump. And these are all available at any hobby store. I'm going to use my best quality materials I have again, and this is my lucky day. I have a Zentangle tile. And so I am going to use that. This is a nice quality paper, any paper that you have so that you can practice and just get started is fine. This is a 3.5 by 3.5 Zentangle tile. And we're going to begin with a monotangle. The monotangle is also a grid, and the pattern we're going to do today is called Fife. And I'm going to uncap my pen and demonstrate for you. I'm going to make that a half a C, and then I'm going to close the C in the other direction, and that is the pattern Fife. So we're going to do this in a grid fashion. And I'm working on my blank tile. I'd like to show you a couple of examples. Fife is a very fun pattern, and we will add to this in the coming days and do some other patterning with this that I hope you enjoy. Here's another example that I pulled out of my files. And something you're always supposed to do is put your initials on the bottom, which makes sense. We should be proud of our work. And then also I put the date that I made this, and that happens to be quite a lot of fun. I wrote the name of the pattern, my name, and the day that I created this Fife pattern, and some of the fun choices that I chose to do. So grab your pencil, put your paper or whatever you're choosing to use in front of you, and one of the first things we always do is we put pencil dots in the corner of our piece or our canvas. And then I connect my dots in a wonky fashion. I don't try to make a Mary Poppins straight line. I try to honor the fact that I probably had too much coffee this morning. And so I make my pencil lines, and I would suggest and offer to you that you do them very lightly, but you still do want to be able to see them. I'm going to divide this in half. And if you would like to put tick marks to give yourself something to aim for, create the straightest line that you feel you can and turn your tile. Always keeping our work in front of us will give us the best work. And again, very lightly, I'm going a little darker so that you can see this easier. So now I've got a square, and what I'm going to do is divide this one more time. Eyeball it. You don't have to have a ruler. This is a small tile, a small piece of paper. And if you don't, like I just aimed for it and didn't quite make it, I think that's going to be just fine. You'll see. And a tick mark, and divide these equally again. 3, and another tick mark. Extend your line. Try to go for this tick mark that you made. Again, if it doesn't come out, not a biggie. At this point, I'm going to switch over to my smaller size pen. Use whatever pen, like I've mentioned to you, that you happen to have on hand. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one side of that C, and I kind of try to make one stroke at a time, which is the motto of Zentangle, one stroke at a time on all of those lines that I've created. One thing that's created if I do this on one side and I only do a pen on one side is that I tend to be able to dig in a little more when I connect. But again, this is a fairly quick piece, if you like it to be. You can get your Zen on and have this be as long or as short as you would like. Dig in again. Well, when you have these done, turn your tile and do the C lines the other direction. I'm just tickling my paper. I'm not trying to have this be very heavy-handed. You'll just hurt your hand if you try to push too hard. No reason for that. Now you can see how it's creating quite a dark line, or when I connect these into what becomes like a flower. This is certainly one of my favorite patterns, and I believe in the coming days you're going to enjoy what we're going to do with this pattern. It's one of my favorites. Very Zentangle. Get your Zen on. I'm going to go along the outside edges with my C. As you can see, I'm darkening as I approach each of these. Watch the corner. Same thing. Turn. Just easier to keep your work in front of you. I hope you notice that I am going fairly quickly. The beauty of Zentangle is that there are no mistakes and there are no erasers. And you might not be happy with your work when you first do it, but I believe and I know that later you'll look at it and you'll go, that's not bad. And you'll quite like what you did. Now I'm making the C, or connecting the rice grain in the other direction. Darkening all the while when I connect these. I'll have more opportunities to darken these as I go. Turn my tile one last time. And again. This is quite lovely in itself, but we're going to take this to another level. And what I'd like to do is go diagonal with you. Now you might like to put pencil marks on here very lightly to help you give, again, something to aim for on the diagonal. And again, I have to do these one at a time because they are all a little wonky from each other, but they are all the same in that way. There, I've created my diagonals, and now I'm going to do my C's in the opposite direction. Now look at how I have to kind of dig in here a little bit and almost go behind, which is called hollabah, and a wonderful technique. And because I'm working on the diagonal, I think I prefer to complete these rice grains as I go. And then you see how I have to, whoop, a little bit of darkening there. And then I'll do the other side of the rice grain. If you don't feel you need to do those extra pencil lines, give it a try. Either way, stretch yourself and see how it works out. Now, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to cross over here. And behind. Do this again. Now that I've got this done, how pretty is that? What I'm going to do is put some whiskers, just some small lines like this, maybe 3, maybe 4. I'm going to work pretty quickly. I'm not at all going to worry about them being the same size. The only thing I am going to try to focus on is to make sure that I don't forget to do any. But again, it will be fine either way. This is going to help our centers of our flowers be created. So work in any order that you choose. But this definitely helps to darken the center of the flower. And I will need to turn. I'll go along the outside edges. Take your time with this and enjoy your Zen. It's Monday. And the last thing I'm going to do is those diagonals that I also created. Now, as you saw from my examples, there are a lot of different treatments that you can do with the diagonals. And that will be for a different lesson on a different day. I'm going to cap my pen, and I'm going to take a minute and use my 05, my darker, thicker pen, has a thicker nib. I'm going to go back over all of these areas and darken them a little further so that they become more like centerpieces. Again, I'm letting the pen do the work. I am not trying to push hard. That's just not necessary. The pen has plenty of flowing ink, and it actually won't work quite as well for you if you try to push too hard. And I think that might be all. That's an easy thing to double check and fix later if I should not be happy about that. Now I'm a lucky girl, and I have a regular pencil, and I also happen to have my Zentangle pencil. Zentangle pencil is a 4B, and this is also going to be just fine. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use, and I'm kind of using it instead of a writing instrument like we did before, I'm going to use it as on the side so that I can pull the graphite out and use it for my third color. I'm just gonna, you can see I'm not being sloppy, but I'm being quite easy about how I lay the graphite on here. I'm gonna smudge this out in just a minute and push it, and I'll show you that. And so you'll see that it's gonna be just fine however we choose to do this. So I'm gonna go around the outside before I forget. Laying a little graphite on. Graphite is a lot like baking cookies. You don't want to burn them. You don't want too much graphite. It just doesn't work as well with the shading. That said, it is your third color, and it can add so much depth to your piece. I'll show you that in just a minute when you'll see how we can take the time to add a pillowing effect with our shading. And now to the diagonals. Little bit of graphite on each of those. Little bit of push, 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 push. Very nice. Yep, I think I already did that. Let's finish up here. And the last two. Now, I wouldn't worry at all about the pencil lines that you created, because all you'll have to do is just darken them. So I'm going to use this tortillon much the way that I used the pencil. I'm using it on the side in order to push the graphite, and this will help me create that pillow top. You can use any technique so that you get all of the pencils, and you'll notice that this has quite a lot of graphite on it as you work, and you may not quite need, if you missed one, this may work out well for you. Push. In the case that you find that you have too much, you can just come on the back, roll it over, and push, push, and get rid of some of that extra graphite. And I hope you can see how this is creating that pillowing effect in the corners of this wonderful grid tangle Fife. Makes it look so much like a flower. It is just such a pretty, pretty tangle. Here, push some more. Now, if you don't happen to have a blender stump, a tortillon, just use a Q-tip or your finger That's where many people start. They don't start with a tortillon. Not everybody has one. And that is just the Spanish word for blender stump. They're very inexpensive at the hobby stores. And I might have gotten everything here. The last thing I want to do is look and admire my work. And it is so pretty. Get my little divots off of there. Whoops, excuse me. That is so pretty. I just love the way it has that pillow effect. So I'm gonna take the time to finish my work with my initials. Somewhere on this tile, I wanna put my initials because it's always a good idea to take the time and honor what we did. Then I have no idea if that's up or down. It doesn't matter. I'll put my name on here. Sometimes I'll put the pattern name, like I did on the other one I showed you, but I always try to put the date because of wanting to remember something. And that is our tile and our practice for today. And I want you to think about this wonderful quote. Enjoy the little things in life, because one day you'll look back and realize that they were the big things. Thank you for your time. See you again soon. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and like my post if you wouldn't mind. Thank you.